Hey Liam, summer has been so good to me lately. I've been spending more time outside, slowing down a little, and honestly, I feel so much more relaxed. Americans seem different during July. Even when they're busy, they somehow look calmer. Is it just my imagination?
Not at all. July has a slower rhythm in many parts of the United States. People still work, but they spend more time outside and enjoy the longer evenings. Today, you'll experience that rhythm while picking up natural English along the way.
That already feels different from a regular English lesson. It feels more like we're taking a peaceful walk together, right?
That's exactly the idea. Today isn't about memorizing vocabulary, it's about experiencing English. So wherever you are, let's enjoy a quiet July day together.
Wow, let's finally begin. Liam, if someone visited America in the middle of July, what would they notice first?
I think the first thing they'd notice is the light. The sun rises early, sets much later, and somehow the whole day feels longer. People don't always rush home after work because there's still plenty of daylight left to enjoy.
That sounds lovely. Where I live, I always feel like longer evenings make people happier.
Many Americans would probably agree with you. When the sun stays out longer, people naturally spend more time outside.
So, in July, people in America often enjoy watching the sunset on the porch, right?
Exactly. A porch is a covered area at the front or back of a house where people often sit and relax. You'll see rocking chairs, small tables, flowers, and sometimes families chatting together while watching the sunset.
That sounds so peaceful. I can almost imagine someone sitting there with a cup of coffee.
That's actually a very common picture. Many people enjoy their morning coffee or evening tea on the porch because it's one of the quietest moments of the day.
I think that's our first new word for today, porch.
And instead of memorizing it, I want you to imagine it. Picture yourself sitting on a wooden porch. The weather is warm, there's a gentle breeze, and you hear birds singing nearby.
When Americans talk about enjoying a quiet evening outside, the porch is one of the first places many people think about. Well, moving on, something else comes to mind. What does a quiet July evening sound like in America?
That's a beautiful question. Instead of traffic, you might hear birds finishing their songs before sunset. And you'll probably hear cicadas singing as the evening becomes darker.
I've heard that word before. Cicadas. What are they?
They're insects that make a very recognizable summer sound. If you've ever watched an American movie set during the summer, you've probably heard them without realizing it. Their sound has become part of the feeling of July.
So when Americans hear cicadas, they immediately think of summer.
Very often, yes. It's similar to the way certain songs remind us of specific memories. Some sounds become connected to particular seasons.
That's fascinating because learning vocabulary suddenly feels much more emotional.
Exactly. Words become much easier to remember when they're connected to real feelings.
You know, Liam, you mentioned something earlier that caught my attention. You said people enjoy the evening air. Why is that such a common topic?
Because after a hot afternoon, evenings often become much more comfortable. People open their windows, sit outside, and take slow walks through their neighborhoods. Instead of saying, "Let's stay inside," someone might simply say, "It's beautiful outside."
That's such a simple sentence, but I imagine people say it quite often.
They really do, especially during July. Another expression you might hear is, "What a beautiful evening." It's a very natural way to appreciate the weather without starting a complicated conversation.
It looks like America is a special place in July. What kinds of little things make people happy this time of year?
One of my favorites is the morning. Before the day becomes too hot, many people enjoy sitting outside with a cup of coffee. The neighborhood is still quiet, the streets aren't busy yet, and everything feels peaceful.
I love mornings like that. I imagine someone opening the front door, taking a deep breath, and simply enjoying the fresh air.
That's a perfect image. You'll often hear people say, "It's nice out this morning," or "What a beautiful morning." They're not trying to start a long conversation. They're simply appreciating the moment.
That's one of the biggest secrets to understanding native speakers. Real English is surprisingly repetitive, right?
Exactly. The same comfortable expressions appear again and again.
Earlier, you mentioned sunsets. I've noticed that Americans often talk about sunsets during the summer. Why is that?
Because in many places, sunsets happen quite late in July. People finish dinner, walk outside, sit on the porch, or simply stop for a moment to enjoy the sky. It's one of those small traditions that doesn't need any planning.
I love that idea. Nobody is rushing to the next activity. They're simply enjoying where they already are.
You might hear someone quietly say, "Look at that sky," or "The sunset is beautiful tonight." Those little comments become shared moments.
It's amazing how much communication can happen with such simple English. As the sun goes down, does the atmosphere change?
Very gently. The air becomes cooler. The light becomes softer. You hear fewer cars, more insects, perhaps a few crickets. Neighbors wave to each other before going inside. Everything becomes quieter.
I can almost picture the whole scene. Now that we've talked about everything that involves the feeling of July, there's one more important topic, the 4th of July. How do Americans feel about it, Liam?
The 4th of July, or Independence Day, is a very special moment because it combines national pride with that relaxed summer rhythm we've been talking about.
I've seen it in movies. Backyard barbecues, flags everywhere, and big fireworks shows. Is it really like that?
It truly is. People usually host a cookout, which is another word for a backyard barbecue, where they grill burgers and hot dogs. You'll hear people casually greeting each other with "Happy 4th," instead of saying the full name of the holiday.
Happy 4th. That sounds so much more natural and quick. And what happens when the sun finally goes down?
That's when the real magic happens. Families grab their lawn chairs and blankets, head to a local park or beach, and look up at the sky. You'll hear everyone whispering, "Wow, look at that one," or "Happy 4th of July, everyone." It brings people together in a very peaceful way.
I love how even their biggest holiday of the summer still feels so connected to just sitting outside and enjoying the evening air.
Exactly, Emma. It's not about grand speeches. It's about sharing a quiet moment under the summer sky with the people you love.
You know, I don't feel like I just finished an English lesson. I feel like I spent a quiet evening somewhere in America.
That's exactly what I hoped today's lesson would feel like. Because English isn't only something you study, it's something you experience. When you understand how people live, their conversations suddenly become much easier to understand.
I think that's my biggest takeaway today. The language makes much more sense when I understand the people behind it.
I couldn't agree more. That's one of the most enjoyable parts of learning English. You're not only discovering new words, you're discovering another way of seeing everyday life.
Before we finish, I'd like everyone watching, next time you watch an American movie, listen to a podcast, or hear someone say, "Beautiful evening," take your time, enjoy the weather, or have a good one. I hope you'll remember the peaceful July day we imagined together. Because when English becomes connected to feelings, it becomes much easier to understand.
Before we go, we'd love to hear from you. If you could spend one peaceful July evening anywhere in America, where would it be? Would you choose a quiet porch or a small neighborhood park? We'd love to read your answers in the comments.
And if today's lesson helped you slow down while improving your English, click on the like button and share this video with a friend.
Don't miss our next lesson. Order food this summer. Stop saying, "I want." You'll discover how that relaxed summer rhythm follows you into American cafes and food trucks, and learn the exact expressions you need to order food like a local from your very first day.
It's the perfect next step because you'll take today's calm listening experience and begin applying it to real, everyday situations.
Thanks so much for spending this peaceful time with us.
Keep learning,
Keep listening.
and we'll see you in the next lesson.
Bye.